about hazards in the park, information about all these very complicated things we got going on this year.
My name is Robert, sometimes Bob Schuster. I'm a park ranger naturalist interpreter at Glacier National Park. My first summer was 1967. It's changed somewhat over the years, but primarily I'm meeting people on a porch of the camp store, trailhead, take them on conducted hikes. We stop and talk about vegetation, the wildlife, geology, history of the park. I try to cover all aspects of the park and the park's history. I also do evening programs. One is outside at a campfire circle, and that's non-illustrated. Then I do another one. Was slides in my early years for quite a few years now. It's a PowerPoint on a particular topic, and I've had a variety of topics. That's a tough one. I mean, I like all aspects of my job. I think probably most is meeting the people, meeting somebody interesting people, and also explaining the park to them and seeing they're getting a better appreciation of the park and the resources in the park. Right now, a program I do is called Where Have All the Glaciers Gone? Because the glaciers are disappearing. And that might be one of my favorite programs that I do right now. How have I experienced it? There were more glaciers in 1967 in the park. We've lost glaciers. Some bigger glaciers have split into two. There's one main glacier that in the area I live, it's called Grinnell Glacier, and it has shrunk a lot. And the glacier was about a mile by a half mile. I'm not sure of its exact dimensions now, but it's decreased in size. As it's melted back, the lake has expanded. We used to take people on the ice as part of our conducted hikes, and we don't do that anymore because the ice has melted back so much. Where we used to take people on the glacier, that is now the lake called Upper Grinnell Lake. Gem was one of the glaciers in our valley that is now too small. There's some debate about it, but basically a glacier needs to be about 100 feet in thickness to have the thickness and mass of ice to put pressure on the ice. Then the ice is brittle on the surface if you walked on a glacier. But underneath that pressure causes the ice to be plastic and flow and move. That's what makes it a glacier. So some of these have gotten smaller now in size. They're not, I think it's 25 acres in size and about 100 feet in depth. And when those glaciers don't meet that parameter, they can't function as glaciers anymore. Salamander is a glacier right above Grinnell. They were one glacier. Salamander was the upper lobe of Grinnell Glacier. They separated in 1926. As it receded, the upper lobe looked like the shape of a salamander and alligator, so it's called Salamander Glacier. It could be on its last, I can say his last legs. I think everybody lost his legs, but that's the Salamander Glacier. Glaciers, as they move, they pick up rocks at the bottom of the ice, and then they ride over the bedrock, and they scratch the bedrock. The rock scratching against rock grinds into a fine flour. It's called glacial flour. Glacier milk, if you excuse my pronunciation, and it's a gray-looking flour. But when it gets to the lakes, it's so fine it doesn't settle. It stays in suspension, and each particle acts like a miniature prism and changes how the light is reflected. And so these lakes have this beautiful turquoise color instead of a more typical blue. It'll take a while, and some will probably go back and look like normal blue-colored lakes. But some of them, Saya Glacier and Cracker Lake's a good example. That glacier is above the lake and maybe a quarter mile or more, and that's the stream that comes off of that and feeds Cracker Lake. Well, that's full of flour, that whole stream bed. So even though there's maybe no new flour being made, this still is all there. So anytime you have high water in the spring, it's going to flush more glacial flour into the lake. So I think that lake will stay that color for a long time. But some may change. There was projections at one time that they would be gone by the year 2020 or year 2030. Well, 2020 is come and gone. They're still there. Some are going to disappear, yes, but I'm not sure if they all will, because some of these are against these steep walls or arêtes where they've got that shade in the main part of the day. Also, some of them at those arêtes, the way the winds travel, they blow a lot of snow and avalanches down onto the glacier. So I think some of these could hang on for quite a while. At one time, I thought they'd be gone in my lifetime. I would say no, but of course, your lifetime is a little longer than mine. I'm not sure if they'll be gone in your lifetime. They'll definitely be less, and they'll be very small, but some of them may hang on. I end my talk with, it's real, it's us as humans, it's bad. Well, Mother, and there's hope. There's hope because the glaciers are kind of like the canaries in the coal mines and so on that died, gave an indication that the air was bad in those. Our disappearing glaciers are a sign that our climate is bad, that our warming climate is really, really serious. I think there's hope for our planet, but we still have a long way to go. We as individuals can certainly help, but we need to help. But we have to, at least in this country and other countries, need to get away from the reliance on fossil fuels. There, you can Google what's called your carbon footprint, and there's different things you can do, and you talk about your lifestyle and how you heat your home and what kind of car you drive, all those types of things, and you can get an idea and maybe come up with some ideas of things, because we can all definitely help. We need to help this situation. You should come there. It's a beautiful area, spectacular area, carved out by the Ice Age glaciers and then the glaciers and the snow. And it's a changing landscape. I get there in the end of May, and the mountains are full of snow, covered with snow, and then they gradually melt. The waterfalls are running full, but then later on in the summer you have the wildflowers that bloom, and it's just a changing landscape as you go through the summer from spring to fall. So come to Glacier. See it for yourself. Years ago, we had a 100-year anniversary, and we were asked to write articles, and I wrote one about some of my experiences at that time, and I titled it "Winning the Lottery," because that's what I feel. It's like winning the lottery, the luck that I had to get there and work in that job. I thought I heard something the other day about 3 questions.